Okay, everybody, welcome back. This is Tech Top episode 108, How to Get Internet Service for the High Desert Victor Valley, recorded on October 27th, 2017. Well, I offer a free service to locate internet services, ISP service for residents and business in the High Desert Victor Valley, and I suddenly received a lot of calls on this. So apparently Frontier Communications, one of our ISPs, one of our phone providers, and all that stuff. Apparently, it must have pissed a lot of people off because a lot of people are about ready to jump ship and go to somebody else. So we're going to talk about that in this episode. A little quick recap. Tech Top episode 107, Open Mic with Dale and Keith. You know, it was a great time having my friends back on the air with me, and we shot the hoot there for almost about an hour or so. Looking forward to having them back again. Before we get into today's topic, let's cover a couple announcements here. In case you don't know who I am, I'm Dan Harley. I'm an Internet Solutions Consultant. I started my company, Prime Concepts, 20 years ago, doing Internet Solution Consulting to help small businesses succeed online. I do a lot of Internet stuff, web design, SEO, social networking, connectivity, cloud solutions, all kinds of techie stuff. And my objective is to help my clients succeed by leveraging what the Internet can do for them. So anyway, Tech Talk with Dan Harley, kind of extension of my abilities to help more people, more business owners and professionals out there. I started it through using this podcast show and a YouTube channel. I started this off years ago as a podcast show on Blog Talk Radio, and since grown over here and all this stuff. Now, if you want to look for the podcast show for iPhones or Android devices, or the YouTube channel, or the Facebook page, and all this stuff, other type of media, you go to primeconcepts.net. That's primeconcepts.net. You find all the links there to everything. And while there, look at all the free tutorials on business-related internet-related topics, especially my favorite tutorial, free and almost free ways to advertise your business online. While there, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, the podcast shows, like the Facebook page, and most important, please pass the word. Share the episode with your friends and family, all this stuff. Tell others about the podcast show and the YouTube channel. Very, very much appreciate that. Quick legal disclaimer. Products mentioned in this and other episodes of Tech Talk with Dan Harley could be paid as affiliate commission, promotion commission, or the liking by the product or service provider. In other words, I might try to sell you something, so you've been warned. While I'm trying to do that, you may make sure you take advantage of the special offer from Carbonite, which is a sponsor for the show. If you don't back up your computer imported data on a regular basis, you can risk losing it in a split second. And it's happened to me. All right. Your accounting files, your personal documents, family pictures, all the important documents be lost very quickly in a split second, really very fast. So that's why you need something like Carbonite. What Carbonite is a cloud backup service, and it's renowned for being very, very easy to use. Easy to install, easy to use. No technical skills necessary. Backs up everything on the computer automatically. It has high quality encryption. Those of you who are concerned about HIPAA compliance or legal issues, they have some high quality encryption, so no worries, no hassles. Very affordable. Less than 20 cents a day to back up and protect your computer. So now we partnered with Carbonite to provide you a special offer. Let me go find that for you here real quick here. There it is on the screen. It's a 15-day free trial at primeconcepts.net/link/Carbonite. That's primeconcepts.net/link/Carbonite. If you don't remember that, go to primeconcepts.net. You'll find the link to Carbonite right there. So you can find out for yourself how good Carbonite is. All right. Let me scoot over just a little bit here, so make sure that the link's away from me. So anyway, also, if you're having problems with your business, with the business online, if you're spending too much on a website or internet marketing, and you don't seem to be getting anywhere, if you need to get online with your business and just don't know how, give us a call. Our initial contact is always free, and many business owners had done that. Give us a call and set the consultation, and we steer in the right direction. They soon become very successful. So you can call us at 760-247-4814. That's 760-247-4814 to schedule an appointment. And also you find more information at primeconcepts.net. So anyway, to the topic, we're going to talk about how to get internet service for High Desert Victor Valley. So let me tell you a little story here. the high desert Rift Valley is the high-tech capital of the world. Not. We have a mixture of very large rural areas with developing municipal infrastructure. You know, Appleby, believe it or not, most people don't realize it, but Appleby, Victorville, and Hesperia are the 13th, 14th, and 15th largest incorporated towns in California. Okay? We're bigger than San Bernardino. By area, we're bigger than San Bernardino, Oakland, San Francisco, Irvine. But we clearly don't have the similar technical capabilities as they do. So anyway, what I do for a living sometimes is, my clients have to be online to work with me. So for a long time, I've provided a free service to locate ISPs or internet service providers for my clients. And I refer a dozen of my clients to various different services. And I decided quite a while ago to open this to the public. And I found the services where people didn't think we could find. And I've been pretty proud to be giving that back to the community on a time-to-time basis here. So anyway, as I mentioned earlier in the show here, we got a bit of a ramp up all this past few weeks here. So I thought I might talk about it, kind of break down all this stuff here, give you folks out there something to look at and a better feeling. I try to, if you're feel a little bit, frustrated trying to find a decent ISP, maybe if I could give you this little bit of information, we'll get you in the right direction here. Let me get rid of the Carbonite sponsor links there. So anyway, first of all, let's talk about what is an ISP. And very simply, an ISP is an internet service provider. These folks, these services basically hook you up to the internet. Okay, you've probably heard of companies like Verizon, AT&T, Charter, Spectrum, Cox, Time Warner, Google. Some lesser known ones are Windstream, Megapath, the GTT, Level 3, and we're not going to be talking much about those because those services, they're more like business and commercial related rates and services. So we're going to discuss ISPs, internet service providers for residential small businesses, services for less than $100 a month. So now, before I go further here, I want to make sure everybody knows here, I am not sponsored by any of these ISP services, and I am certainly not going to endorse any of these ISP services. If you start, you're going to hear me kind of hack them all here and there. So they all have their qualities and their setbacks. So I'm just giving my professional opinion of what's available and the problems you might have with them. So, okay, so how can an ISP be provided? The generally is kind of two ways, by wire and by wireless. Okay, so I'm going to break that down in a couple of different ways here. First of all, the wired part of it, you basically have what's called fiber optic, which you probably heard of Verizon Fios. Part of the name there is fiber, so that's what they provide. Charter, the cable company, a good portion of their system is now fiber as well. So that has basically the same type of infrastructure as each other. So also there's something that used to have or still kind of do is a regular phone line, the twisted pair as it's called, which we have DSL services available. Now the fiber optic services, I want to kind of give you some technical stuff. Not trying to get too technical, but something to think about. The upper limit of available bandwidth, how much internet you can get through that type of service. Okay, the upper limit of fiber is about 10 gigabits, 10 gigabytes, at least for now. Okay, right now the peak services for residential is about 100 megabits, so about 100 times less than what the network's capable of providing for now. Technology changes and that might go up. Okay. As for phone lines, which is on DSL, and we'll break down a little bit further here. The upper limit is up to 24 megabits. So a significant difference in speed. Now also, I consider here too, DSL is usually what's called the old not fiber, but copper lines, the old copper phone lines we had. So pretty much at one time, pretty much every house had phone lines. So in theory, at least the mechanical part of it, you should be able to get some type of internet service. However, okay, And like the upper end of it is 24 megabits, which is pretty fast. Unfortunately, the problem with DSL is it degrades over distance. So usually, if anything, it maxes out at approximately 2 miles. And by the time it gets that part, you're not getting 24 megabits. You're getting more like 5 megabits or less. So there's the pros and cons and all that stuff here. And that's where we're going to break down all these pros and cons of what you can get, what you cannot get. Okay. Now, that's kind of the wired services, and that's all of it. Okay. Now, the wireless services, you have basically Wi-Fi, you have satellite, and you have mobile internet. All right. So the Wi-Fi is very similar to the Wi-Fi you might have in your home, residential home, or a business. Okay. Where if you have a Wi-Fi at a restaurant, whatever, the same basic technology. The difference is much higher quality equipment, much higher quality antennas, much higher quality transmission cables, sometimes higher, higher bandwidth or higher power. Okay, so it's basically that same technology, but at the optimum quality level you can probably have. Advantage of Wi-Fi is you don't have to worry about wires. Okay, you basically, if you line of sight between the transceiver and your home or business, and you have internet. Now the upper limits of Wi-Fi, the maximum you can broadcast, the newest technology is about 54 megabits per second, which is fairly fast, about twice as fast as DSL at top speed. Okay, this is also at top speed for Wi-Fi. All right. However, usually Wi-Fi is around 10 or 11 megabits, and then on top of that, the Wi-Fi is affected by various different factors. Weather's a big issue with Wi-Fi. You get a little bit of rain, and you can have some issues with connectivity, dropouts, stuff like that. Also, you have an issue with some services. Most of these Wi-Fi services are smaller companies, and so they have you have these bottlenecks where you have a lot of people online at the same time, which therefore just slows everything down. But again, the advantage of a Wi-Fi is you're pretty much able to get internet so long as you're able to see where they're transmitting from. Okay. Next thing is satellite. Not long ago, basically it's more or less the same technology, different type of equipment, different type of frequencies, and they're basically you're getting your signal from the satellite. So as long as you see the sky, you can get internet. All right. And huge advantage of that is anywhere you're at in the world, if you look up at the sky, you can probably pretty much get internet. All right. So recently, relatively, in fact, as of this year, there used to be 5 satellite companies. Now there's only 2. Obviously, because the 2 when they're left bought out 1 each of the other services, and then the remainder 1 basically disappeared. So there's only 2 of those services left. We're going to talk about it a little bit more here. The upper data limit of the satellite systems is right now about 25 megabits. So about the same as DSL at highest quality. The big problem with satellite, at least right now, is they do a lot of data capping. Okay, so you're going to get so much download or whatever per month, and you got to pay more for it. Sort of like if you have data caps on your phone or your cell phones, and we're going to talk about that here a little bit too. So also there's an issue with drop signals and a lot of latency, because you got to consider your signal from your house has to travel 25,000 miles up and then 25,000 miles back. So even light speed, there's a couple of second delay. So that's another issue here too. However, the pros is you get internet anywhere. Cons is you have some limited capabilities to do the equipment. Okay, probably the last, but certainly not least, is mobile internet, which if you're familiar, you can tether your own phone. There's certain, pretty much all of the mobile providers have some type of internet service, dongle, whatever, internet data only service. The advantage of that is so long as you get your cellular signal, you should be able to have internet, at least for your service provider. Now, the upper limit of these at this current technology, at the 4G technology, is about 10 megabits, which is fairly okay. It's like about the same speed as your phone using 4G. If you're able to watch Netflix on your phone, whatever, you could probably do the same thing with the mobile internet devices. Most all of the service has some type of data cap. Some of the servers now recently they're changing where you can have unlimited service there. But as of this writing, just a few are starting to break out of there. But there's a lot of the servers have data caps, which in turn makes this system rather costly. So anyway, so that's kind of the 5 ways. Maybe we should 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5 ways of getting in. I want to make sure I get it right here. Getting ISP or internet service to your residence or small business. Now, in theory, that means everyone, all these services I explained here, it means everyone in the high desert should be able to access internet somehow, some way. However, and this is however here, and I'll let you know that, there's a lot of little bottlenecks here and there that people don't realize. First of all, a lot of these folks that come to me say, hey, you know what, I need internet. I know I can get, I see on AT&T they're advertising something, or Time Warner, all these companies, the nationwide companies said we can provide you internet for X amount of dollars. The problem is most of those companies don't service this area. AT&T, Time Warner, Cox, etc. are not available in this area. Okay, so we're basically for those wired type of similar services, we're down to either Frontier or Charter for the most part. Okay, and many of the areas around the high desert, Victor Valley here, you're lucky to get one or the other. All right, so now overall, if you're really lucky, you might have 7 options available to you. Okay, and those people are the really lucky areas are basically people in like Apple Valley and the proper part of Vesperia and the proper part of Victorville, except for Spring Valley Lake, and a little bit of Adelanto. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to break down the available service providers and then kind of talk about where they might be available in certain cities. Okay, first of all, let's talk about the wired services, the Fios and the digital data, the digital cable. Fios for Frontier. Many of you, this is the one that really caused a big problem recently, and as of a couple years ago. There used to be Verizon, okay, and Verizon was a little bit of a factoid here. Is when Verizon first introduced Fios, Apple Valley, the town of Apple Valley, was one of the first cities to have Fios services, and which blew my mind because I do a lot of work online, obviously, and all of a sudden I was able to get fiber optic internet, where I have a lot of my clients, my colleagues in San Jose and San Diego, that all of a sudden I have more bandwidth, faster internet than they did, and I'm out here in the desert. So I was pretty tickled pink about that. So I was actually one of the first people to get Fios at all around here, and that since grew. Apple Valley, within the town limits, you pretty much can get Fios internet. Also in Victorville and Hesperia, and some parts of Adelanto. All right. The advantage of Fios is extremely fast. Okay, you can get, in theory, you can get many gigabits data. Right now, they kind of cap it about 100 megabits or so. So, and if you ask really nice, you might get 120 megabits of data, which is pretty darn fast. I mean, you can purchase anything you possibly think of. You want to run Netflix and YouTube, and right now in my home office here, I got about 6 or 8 computers running, and they're doing something all the time. I don't really experience any type of slowdown. But by the way, too, I went from I'm no longer on Fios anymore. I'm on Charter Spectrum, which we're going to talk about as well. The big downfall with Fios is Verizon sold off a good chunk of their services, and to a company called Frontier Communications. And a big problem that happened here is Frontier, instead of tapering these in little by little, they took California, Texas, and Florida and turned them on to Frontier literally overnight. And it was actually literally April 1st, a year or two ago when this happened. It was pretty bad. It had just blew up everywhere. All hell broke loose. Frontier certainly was not prepared for it. They had people down for literally weeks. No phone, no internet, no TV, and all of a sudden people would work and stop working, and it would take for days, weeks for Frontier to respond. It was so bad that, and this is a surprise to Charter, and a big boost to Charter. And I'll get a little bit more on Charter here too. They seen this. They jumped on really quickly and started providing connectivity services as soon as they possibly can. They ramped up more technicians, got more people, more people on the field there, and they literally started taking Frontier, former Verizon customers by the boatload over to Charter, because they can literally install internet and phone faster than Frontier can respond. So, and personally, Frontier has gotten fixed a lot of the problems, but they never have really recovered from that. They still have some customer service issues. And it got to the point with me that, yes, even with me, a longtime customer of Verizon, I moved over to Charter. And I did respectfully leave because of my profession. I still need to work with those folks, as well as with Charter, as well as AT&T, all these other companies too. So even so, at my level of knowledge and capabilities, it got to the point I could not. They were not able to fulfill my own needs. So I moved on to Spectrum. Let's talk about that. Okay, Spectrum used to be Charter. Technically, it still is Charter Communications. Their technology is essentially using coaxial cable, but a lot of their infrastructure locally here is on fiber as well. So essentially kind of the same technology as Frontier's using. The difference is, instead of coming through, they come through one box, you come through a coaxial cable. Now, a lot of people out there are saying, well, Charter's better than Frontier. That could be true to this extent here. Now, I'm going to tell you bluntly here, both these companies have really bad customer support issues. Both of them. Even Verizon had some really bad customer support issues. Okay? Of the three, Verizon was the better of all of them. Okay, I'll give them that much. Okay, but because it's such a large company, there are going to be customer relation issues, customer service issues. Okay? I had issues with Spectrum as well. Even from the very beginning, I got involved with them. Okay, the only reason I don't have problems now is as I don't have to call them like I used to. So, but in my opinion, reason why Charter is better than Spectrum is Frontier sucks even more. Okay, so if for those of you thinking that you're going to jump in a better boat with Spectrum, it's not really the truth. They have issues as well. Now, I got to give Spectrum one thing. They responded correctly to Frontier's issues. They cleaned up their house much better improved than before Frontier got involved. Okay, so I'll give them that much. Hopefully, they take this experience and improve themselves even more and more. But time will tell. All right, now where is Spectrum available? Basically, close to where Fios is available. Appleby, Hesperia, Adelanto, Barstow, and South Spring Valley Lake. That's the one thing of Spring Valley Lake we're going to talk about here a little bit later here too. So they're available kind of in the closer, more urban areas of the High Desert Victor Valley, similar to Fios to Frontier. There are some places, lots of areas where Spectrum and Fios overlap. Some areas there's only Spectrum. Some areas only Frontier. Okay. By the way, too, we're going to cover DSL here too, which goes back to Frontier. So it's going to be next year. So anyway, if you the long story short, if you want to know how you can get one or the other, okay. Well, in fact, let me talk about DSL next, and then we'll talk about all that in one shot here. DSL is basically what you used to call, that's the internet, the old internet now, okay, it's before fiber. What DSL basically is, it's internet service provided through twisted pair of phone lines, okay? So it was, I guess you call it was the next step above dial-up, right? So in theory, if you have a phone line, then you should be able to get DSL, in theory, okay? However, problem with DSL, it degradates the longer, based on the length of the quality and length of the line, the phone lines you have. So usually, if you go beyond that 15,000 feet or about 2 miles or so, there's an issue. Okay, usually you cannot get a DSL. Okay, there's other types of DSLs, but DSL is usually available only 2 miles away from what's called the CL, the central operating point of where DSL is provided. But however, a lot of areas that Verizon or now Frontier could not provide fiber, at least they could have phone lines to them. So at least they can provide. You might be able to get DSL. Very decent chance. If you can not get fiber from Frontier, you could probably get at least the technical capabilities are there for you to get DSL. Okay. Now, here's something a lot of people don't realize about DSL, and part of the reason Verizon jumped into fiber technology. Verizon, many years ago, lost a major lawsuit that forced them to open their network to third-party providers for DSL. In the past, if you wanted DSL, you had to go through Verizon. Okay? After the lawsuit, you can go to Verizon, or you can go to Yahoo, or you can go to Speedy Internet, or a local ISP. Dozens and dozens and dozens of different internet service providers, literally anywhere in the United States and sometimes even the world. That's still technically available. The only issue here is a lot of these ISP companies are going away because DSL is older technology, and this technology is not being used as much. The more fiber is being spread out, the more the digital cables being spread out, the less need for DSL because it's older, slower technology. Mind you that the maximum speed of the DSL is about 25 megabits, or technically, realistically, about 10 megabits. Okay, and the lowest bandwidth for Fios is about 25 megabits. So you're only 1.5 times faster with the small package, the basic package of Fios, than you are with the best package in DSL. So it makes more sense to go for the faster package if you're able to get to it. Again, advantage of DSL is you're probably going to be able to get it if you have a phone line. All right. And so a lot of the areas that are in the fringes of the high desert and fringes of any city, okay, kind of out rural areas here, probably has a chance of DSL, barring they're close enough to the CO. So we're talking areas like rural Apple Valley, rural Victorville, Hesperia, Adelanto, lots of Barstow area. Phelan has a basic DSL. They have no provisions for their Spectrum or Frontier, but they have Frontier phone. Wrightwood, Spring Valley Lake. Okay. Once again, you might be able to get DSL if you don't have fiber, Fios. So think about that. Second, if you ever get DSL, you might be able to get service other than Frontier. So we'll keep that in mind. Okay. So next thing is the Wi-Fi providers. Okay, this equipment, the Wi-Fi providers, basically it's glorified Wi-Fi equipment you use in your home, but it's designed much different for being outside use, longer range, higher power, higher gain, to be able to hop miles and miles and miles from where they're broadcasting to where your house is or where your business is at. Okay, the two Wi-Fi providers we have in the high desert right now, as of this now, I don't know where they might be around any longer. There's a company called WISPRENN out of Apple Valley and Desert Wireless out of Victorville. I got to tell you something. WISPRENN, this guy here, he's a kind of a local success story. I got to pat this guy on the back. He had the same problem a lot of folks where he lives. He couldn't get internet, so he figured out himself, started putting together the Wi-Fi system, And there he went. And at one time, he literally saw this stuff off the side of the road. You know, this big old sign saying internet. And he's since grown this business. He went from essentially himself to a very impressive company here. Him and the other companies, basically, they provide internet service. They try to provide it in areas where Spectrum or Frontier might not be available. So in the rural areas of Phelan, Wrightwood, Lucerne Valley, the Juniper Riviera, the Bale Pass areas or fringe areas of Victorville, Adelanto, all this stuff, all those areas that, let's say, you're not quite in town, these folks will very likely be able to provide you internet service. Their prices are about pretty competitive with Spectrum and with Frontier. The challenge with them is because the technology, it's not quite as fast. Okay, you're going to be lucky to get 10 megabits on a good day, maybe 15 megabits per second, which is fairly decent. But the big challenge here is all these companies here. They have these bottlenecks where once everybody comes home and gets online at the same time, it kind of clogs up the bandwidth and clogs up all the pipeline for the internet. So you can get slowed down really, really, really fast when everybody gets home using the internet at the same time. And that's obviously a challenge. Then again, these folks might be, for who they're providing, might be the only other realistic choice. Okay, if you not able to get Spectrum or not able to get Frontier, you're kind of stuck with these folks. Now I should also mention the satellite providers too, and so that's another option. We're two satellite providers, HughesNet, and I forget the other one. If you guys want to know, just email me back and figure out. But basically, there's two satellite providers left. It's very simple. They basically, you point a dish up to their satellite, you get internet. The maximum bandwidth is approximately 25 megabits per second, which is about a little bit faster than the Wi-Fi, or about compatible to Wi-Fi, a little bit faster than DSL. One of the challenges with satellite is it's very expensive. You can look at about 100 of all the services there. That's probably the most expensive. You can look at about $100 a month. And if you're lucky to get that fast bandwidth, quite often the satellites move around, and you'll know more about satellite communication, how satellites work. If you're on one of these services, could all of a sudden your internet go out and then come back on again, and it'll go out again and come back on again. So, so you'll find that with Hughes and the other one. And again, this is someplace where you get nothing else available. If you can't get the Wi-Fi, you can't get Spectrum, you can't get Frontier, you way out the Tulies there, it's probably your only choice. Okay, maybe there's one left here. The one left is the mobile internet. This is a fairly easier one. Basically, most all the internet service most all the mobile service providers provide data internet. Okay, you get on your phone. You've heard of 1G, 3G, and 4G technology. A lot of these, all the services, they have a data-only port, data-only device. We can rent out, buy whatever, and pay accordingly. The challenge with these services, and by the way, the maximum bandwidth is about 10 gigabits. Okay, so you're talking about DSL speeds on a good day. Okay, 10 megabits. 10 megabits. I'm sorry, got the too many zeros in there. So now this has changed a little bit. A lot of these services like Verizon, they used to cap their services and charge you extra for extra bandwidth. This has started to change. Something like Sprint. I have Sprint. They have unlimited service. T-Mobile is doing that, and in fact, all the other services kind of do that too. So this might be a good option. All right. Basically, if you can get this type of internet if you're able to use your phone. at your home, your residence, whatever. So there could be at least a good backup option quite often too. So for those of you who are absolutely positive need to be online, that could be a secondary option for you. Also, here's something else about the mobile internet, and goes back to why Verizon basically sold off their Fios stuff to Frontier and going to sell the rest of it here too. The new technology is coming around, that the 5G technology, that is going to it could be the next advancement in ISP services. The 5G technology can provide internet service up to 10 gigabits, which that's about 100 times faster than the Spectrum or Frontier provides right now. 10 gigabits on wireless. If you can imagine what that can do to your home, to your business, to your car. Wow, so that's why Verizon kind of got out of this terrestrial stuff and moving towards this technology. And I have to admit, Verizon, of all the companies, they're all working on it, but Verizon tends to be quite a bit ahead on this. So we can anticipate this technology coming out fairly soon, maybe a year, maybe 2 years. But once it does, it's going to make a significant change in internet service, ISP services, especially in the desert. We have all these areas here that spotty stuff. We have areas that you have 1 or 2 services. I already have 2 or 3, 4 services, and we got companies that have really bad customer service. Period. Having technology such as 5G through Verizon, or let's imagine we have 4 different all the 4 major certain carriers provide this type of service. That's going to really make them competitive, drive prices down, bring quality up, so on and so forth. So we'll see what happens in a couple of years. Okay, so that's something with mobile we need to watch out for. Like I say, I think Verizon is going to be way ahead on this. They're the ones that are going to kind of break out, and of all the 4 carriers up here, Verizon probably has an edge when it comes to coverage up here. So another reason why I want to kind of bring that up too. Once again, I'm not sponsored by Verizon. They're not paying me to do this. It's just by opinion. Okay. So now there are some other options available out there too. When you start getting more commercial services such as dedicated T1, fiber, wireless T1, so on and so forth. Now this stuff here can get pretty darn expensive. But if you are in a commercial situation where you absolutely need more bandwidth, more reliable bandwidth, you need that extra quality of service, then this is the way you need to go. And if you have these issues, by all means, give me a call. We'll talk about that. Also, there's some other technology that has kind of gone by the wayside. One technology is called DSL, but SDSL, called synchronous DSL. This service was provided a long time ago. This is based on older technology. It's been around for quite a long time, actually, even before ADSL. The maximum bandwidth is about 1 megabit, 2 megabits, so fairly slow, even by standards, wireless standards. The advantage of SDSL, it was available pretty much anywhere you have copper lines. Okay, 10, 15 miles from the CO, so that pretty much covers most of the high desert. If you have a phone, you can probably get DSL. Unfortunately, like I said, it's very expensive. At the time it was offered, it was about $150 a month for that, and only for 1 or 2 gigabits per second, which is megabits per second. I'm sorry, not gigabits. So it's really slow, really expensive, and there's other technology out there that kind of supersedes what SDL was able to do now. So anyway, some quick do's and don'ts before I close this thing up here. With regard to all these services here, one thing I want you absolutely do here is shop them all. Okay, don't just jump on the first one you hear about. Talk to Frontier, talk to Charter, talk to the WISPRENN, talk to the Desert Wireless, talk to Hughes, talk to all these folks. Okay, including your carriers, and get down the details, and then shop them. Okay, tell them you talk to Frontier. This gave you a price for $50. Tell Charter that Spectrum, hey, they want to give you $50. What can you do? I'll give you $40. Just go back and forth on them. Use the power of what you call it, power of marketing, power of capitalism to favor you. Okay. Also, look at bundled and unbundled services. What this means is now the regular ISP services, WISPRENN and Desert Wireless, all these other folks, they're not going to offer you TV or phone, okay? But Frontier and Spectrum usually does. So have them offer a service for bundled up all the services as well as unbundled, just internet only, okay? And then compare it that way. See what happens. All right. A few things you don't want to do, okay? Especially around here. You don't want to get into a long-term contract, okay? Because very likely, no matter what service you have, they will probably piss you off sooner or later. And you want to have that option to move, to get out right away, okay? If you don't have that option there, then they're going to be lackadaisy about servicing you, okay? So, that in mind here too. Something you don't do with them, whoever you're with, don't tell them to fuck off. Okay? Don't piss them off on the way out the door, because you might have to go back. Unfortunately, we don't have that many services available. In fact, some of these places are Charter might be the only one you can get, or Frontier might be the only one you can get, or you might not get either one of them. You might get WISPRENN or somebody else out there, and that's it. Okay? Don't piss them off. Be respectful. As much as it sucks to get bad service, trust me, I do with all of them. They'll suck in various different levels here, okay? It is better to be professional and businesslike and respectful than giving the bird and head out the door, okay? So, because like I say, you might have to go back to them. It would suck if you had to rebuild that bridge to go back over, because they're not gonna be so nice to you next time around. So, okay, so in summary here, like I say, you can access the internet in every part of the high desert. You can do that. Now, you might be stuck with one or two ways to do it, though. And so, do your homework. Be smart about your selections, and don't burn your bridges. Something else I want to mention, too, like I say, I offer a service to provide ISP location service for free. Okay? I do it as I can. Sometimes I get a little bit busy. But all I ask for this is you pass a word about my company, Prime Concepts, and the show especially. Okay, tell me you saw me here. This is how you found out about it. So tell me I'm a good guy, all good stuff. So anyway, in closing here, like I said, give us a call, set up a consultation, or contact us at primeconcepts.net. Send an email to info@primeconcepts.net. The phone number, by the way, is 760-247-4814. So anyway, I hope you folks enjoyed this, and this comes to good use to you folks out in the high desert. So anyway, that's going to be that's it for this episode. Thank you for watching and listening. Good luck and Godspeed to your online success.